Alright guys, so I forgot to film the early parts of this, even though I intended to, but hey, get carried away, a little bit ADHD. But I'm working on running the wire for the sub panel upstairs, because I'm going to run a larger gauge wire from the panel downstairs to a sub panel upstairs, and then I'm going to rewire the entire upstairs off of that sub panel. So yeah, let's take a look at what I've got done so far. All right, so the other day I came in and ripped the ceiling out. I'll post some of the video of me doing that here, but got it all ripped out, took it outside, and it's all on the burn pile now. But from there, so my intention was to run the wire, as I'm doing, up in this little drop ceiling, and for perspective, the electrical panel's right there. So I'm gonna run it through the ceiling from there all the way from the breaker panel, the main breaker panel. Gonna come through right here, and then using a curtain rod, actually, I stubbed it up through this little space here. You can see this is inside of one of the walls upstairs, and I stubbed that curtain rod up into that wall, and there's a little crack upstairs that I'll show you here shortly that you could see through, and I figured out where that was sticking out at. And then from there, basically just took my wire and stubbed it up through there. And then I found actually that I had to cut a hole because I couldn't reach my fingers through the crack and get my hand in there and pull the wire up. So yeah, let's go upstairs and I'll show you what we're working with up there. All right, so we're upstairs in the little attic portion here, and first thing I want to do whenever I get this wired up is obviously put some lights in here. But yeah, had that stubbed up in behind the wall. You could see it through this little crack, and that's basically how I judged where to cut this hole so that I could get my hand in there, pull it out. And then I'm gonna put some boards up and then just surface mount the sub panel because well, obviously it's the old 2x4 by ½ inch sheets of drywall, which tells me it's old, and I can't tell with that insulation, but I think I'm probably going to be better off if I just leave it there. I'll leave it in the wall, and then I'll cover this up, then put a board right here. My sub panel is going to go on that, so that way I'll just keep from disturbing it in the first place, just in case it is asbestos. So it is a very old house, so yeah. But wire's just going to come straight up, be a board, sub panel mounted to it, and then I'll come off of that with my wires to wire the rest of the second floor. So yeah, follow along. For perspective, I'm right here. This is an old wire that no longer being used. I'm gonna rewire the whole house, but I'm gonna pull this out. I almost wonder if this used to feed the garage, maybe. But I'm gonna pull this out of this wall, and then I'm gonna use that existing hole through there to feed my new wire through. So yeah, I'm gonna pull this out and then start on the other side feeding the new wire through it to come over and into the top of the panel. All right, so pretty much what I did there was cleaned up the wires a little bit up top. This is just a utility room, so I'm not really worried about the wires being exposed. This is not a used area in the house. I say utility, it's more mechanical. So the washer and dryer, so there's going to be a separate laundry room, so we won't be using it actively. But I just cleaned up those wires, put a bushing in there just so that none of the wires are going to be rubbing on the metal of the panel, and then re-landed all those wires. I'm going to wait to land this, obviously, until I get the sub panel upstairs installed. So, yeah. All right, guys. End of the video cut off a little bit early. My phone died, so I had to charge it. And yeah, so I got pretty much all of it done. There's a little bit of cleaning up that I'm going to do, but yeah, so got everything rewired up in here after putting the male adapter in there with the bushing, and got all of this clamped up and ran back through there. We're gonna walk through here and I'll show you what we've got in here as well. So this comes through here and then goes up in the ceiling right there, up into the wall upstairs, and I'll take you guys up there and show you what we've got up there. All right, guys, so here we are. Obviously, I'm going to remove all of this. I do have, even with everything upstairs off, or at least I thought everything, there's one wire left there that is still hot. So I'm going to have to figure out why, or what breaker that's wired to. All of this comes from down in that part of the wall. I'm wondering if maybe it's coming from the garage, but I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out whenever I get to digging into it. So this is what we got. Okay. Up through the wall. I know it's not pretty, but it's gonna do the job for now. So yeah, I don't think it's too bad. And then basically, with this being an attic space, I'm not too worried about it. But we're gonna come out of the top, and then this flat part right here, we can enter into the attic for the rest of the second story. So I'm gonna come out of the top of this panel up into the attic, and from there we're gonna go into each room and rewire the entire second story. So if you're interested in following along for that, then like and subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.